Hi, my name is Erica Jones, and I'm a professional counseling astrologer and a practitioner of metaphysical arts and mystical approaches to healing. And thank you for tuning in. This is a little astrological tidbit. We're coming up to the full moon happening around midnight on June 11th. The full moon is happening in the sign of Sagittarius, which is very forward thinking, very expansive, looking towards the future, and with a very optimistic take. Full moons are times of heightened emotions. The waters are crashing in on us, whether we might be prepared or not. The planet said to rule the sign of Sagittarius is Jupiter. And Jupiter, also a very optimistic, expansive, forward-thinking, growth-oriented planet, has just entered the sign of growth and nurturance, family, and also the past, Cancer. So Jupiter has just entered Cancer for the first time in 11 years. Just before this full moon, that really will amplify, sort of announce its arrival in this new sign, and perhaps really bring up a lot of the, I want to say actually a lot of the very positive pieces that we can expect from that transit. Now that said, Jupiter and Saturn have also, Saturn being quite different, almost the opposite to Jupiter's nature. It is concerned with the past, with what has been, with structure, with reservations, limitations. And Jupiter and Saturn have been in a square for about a year, and this is their final exact square coming in at the middle of June 2025. So for those of us who've really been feeling that collision of Saturn's past with Jupiter's future, this is a particularly poignant moment. Jupiter will be in Cancer for about, almost exactly a year, until June 2026. And does very well in the sign of Cancer in terms of it being also very Jupiter and Cancer both being very interested in growth, like how to make things larger. Jupiter is also very fecund, where Cancer is concerned with family, so expanding your family, that kind of thing. But I think also expanding your notion of what is family. It's really an encounter with Jupiter's foreignness, other sort of the diversity quality of Jupiter, that there are many diverse things beyond the human even, and Cancer speaking to expanding that sense of connection, relatedness, and really pondering that. And it could also be the welcoming in of things that are very foreign to ourselves about our own nature that may be disclosed. I'd say particularly over this next month. July is looking to be a wild ride, and here I'm only talking in mid-June, but looking forward to the signs of the current moment, that it's all related. So just sort of contemplating what this full moon looks like as a total picture. There's just sort of this sense that, I would call it like a cri de coeur, a French term, a cry of the heart, like a very poignant experience or rousing, passionate cry from the heart for what it is, that the freedom that you're seeking, or the freedom that is starting to come in. It can be both the wanting to break free, and for others of us, it might be the recognition that freedom is at hand. The door is open if we can walk through it. And so in this final, mid-June contact, exact aspect between Jupiter and Saturn, it's sort of like now being able to turn towards the future, of being able to deal with all the problematics. Saturn can be what's problematic. All the problematics of moving forward, all the things that we are still obligated to, all the things that did create stability for a long time, but now those structures don't fit us. They're going to hinder us. There's a sense of being stifled if certain adjustments are not made. And it's all about the timing with Jupiter and Saturn. Anyone who's born with that combination really strong or powerful in their chart can tell you, trying to leap ahead and to not have all your details worked out and to not move step by step is very punishing for those who are born with Jupiter Saturn. So there's that quality of you really do have to deal with the details. And sometimes the details are about letting go, waiting, surrendering to larger processes that are in place, that are happening really outside of your control. And yet having Jupiter's faith, having Jupiter's optimism or sense of connection, of what creates wholeness in one's life. So I think throughout June, maybe kicking off with this full moon, it's a time to really get in touch with what we're afraid of, like what fears are actually driving us or causing us to create stories of good and evil, to really kind of split the world off into simplistic categories out of fear, not from a sense of much else. So the interrogation of what causes us to be fearful. And it's not that fear has no place. It's just that if that is the primary decision maker at this time, it's very easy to paint yourself into a corner or to create enemies where there are actually allies, and to create obstacles where there could be a lot more ease. So that, getting intimate with fear is so important to taking, to bringing imagination to this time, to bringing an openness, an uncertainty around what's going to unfold and the risks that we might want to take as we do realize, oh, things have changed. I am able to move more freely. I'm able, the sense of being able to convert what was weighing us down, holding us back, into actually proper ballast, for our ship, like a weight of experience, a weight of a positive reality. That can be Saturn in every way. And I love this particular quote from an author named Bennett Goodspeed. And I think that this is very poignant for this time in individual lives and in a lot of things that are happening in various collectives. The difference between a comedy and a tragedy is that the characters in a comedy figure out what is going on in time to do something about it. So comedies have an extra act, and that's the place where you actually understand what's happening, and there's enough time, Saturn, to actually do something about it, to move things, to incorporate that reality in a way that brings relief, brings agency, brings a doorway, a way to move forward, rather than crashing on the shores of a cruel fate. This is the necessity for, I think, what will really help us is looking for complexity, looking for nuance, getting beyond, trauma will cause us to split the world into black and white, either or, having to make a rush decision, of not being able to sit in discomfort. That's a hallmark of trauma in our lives. Just being aware, are we filtering information with some predetermined outcome? I already know what's going to happen, right? That sort of limits awareness, actually, more than choice. It just sort of like that, the problem of filtering based on thinking that we already know how everything is going to play out. And since this full moon really also lights up, there's Jupiter square Saturn, but Saturn is also conjoining Neptune. So it's actually the total transit is Jupiter square Saturn, Neptune. And this full moon is really lighting up that world transit. And in the Buddha Dharma, the Buddhist tradition, the Pali word dukkha, or also Sanskrit dukkha, the concept is often translated in English as suffering. But another way to understand that word or to think about or reflect on what is meant by dukkha, suffering, because the whole of Buddha Dharma is the declaration that life is suffering. There is suffering here, then that there is a path to the cessation of that suffering. Maybe suffering it has a lot of baggage, a lot of weight, a lot of ways to hold that. And another way to think of it is imperfection and how difficult it is to be with imperfection in this world. I've long sat with the the fact that we find perfection within our imperfection, that it's a wholeness. And Saturn is like the fly in the ointment. Saturn is the thing that just sort of gums up Neptune's perfect image of, oh, this is bliss, Ananda. We're going to, have this eternal experience of joy within, this world, and or any world, any level of reality. Just that attachment to, or that desire for complete and unfettered joy, no suffering, right? Saturn is like, yeah, no, nope, there's death, there's endings, there's things you don't like. Saturn is like the archetypal problem. And to move beyond obsession with perfection, to find a perfection within imperfection, to go beyond that experience, like Saturn and Neptune can correlate to disillusionment, where our beautiful ideal is shattered. And now we have to face reality, and oh man, what a drag, what a terrible thing that is. And sort of the process of moving through that, to see both sides of the illusion of perfection, and I would say the illusion of imperfection, that these things are completely separate from each other. To see beyond that is a worthy practice. It's something that might also be useful as we move through the next few years until May 2027 of Saturn Neptune. This trying to transcend or go beyond the idea that there is the desirable and the undesirable. What does it mean to have both in our lives, and to find a way through this life in acknowledgement of that. Thank you so much for watching or listening. Please give a like, subscribe if you enjoyed this, and you can find my work at realimaginal.com, where I offer healing as well as astrological consultations. I truly enjoy assisting people with turning liabilities into assets, with best wishes for your well-being in all the ways.